the Roots of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. If you are new here, welcome, settle in, and remember that you can always follow the podcast on your favorite podcasting streaming platform, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, etc. Now, remember that you can also leave a review specifically on Apple Podcast or on other platforms such as Podcast Addict or Podchaser. Today is a special one. I have not one, but two guests with me. I have two members from the African in STEM organization. Firstly, we have Cynthia Okoye, a PhD student in pharmacology from Nigeria. Secondly, we have Kagiso Loeto, a PhD student in material science from Botswana. In this episode, we learned that Africans in STEM was started in 2019 by 4 African scientists at the University of Cambridge. Wanted to create a space for Africans in the UK conducting research in STEM disciplines to network, connect, and showcase their work. So, discuss issues regarding STEM in the context of the African continent and the diaspora. The inaugural symposium was held in June 2019 and had invited speakers and talks spanning academia, industry, and science communication. We found out about the success of the first symposium and discussed the next one, an online one, happening over 2 days from the 23rd to the 24th of April 2021. Remember that you can register for the event. The links are in the description box below. We also discuss other projects that Africans in STEM conducts apart from the symposium. Lastly, we chat about the amazing sponsors that have been beneficial in the past and present to achieve their goals. Tune in as we hear about all of this and so much more. Hi guys, welcome to the show. It is an absolute pleasure. I have the two members of the African in STEM organization. So before we get started, because we have two people now, I'm just going to give you each a chance to just introduce yourself, and then we will get into the swing of things. So ladies first, Cynthia, please. A little bit of a technical issue in the beginning stages of Cynthia's intro, so I'm just going to give you a brief introduction on who Cynthia is. Cynthia Okoye is a third-year pharmacology PhD student and a Gates Cambridge scholar from Nigeria. Her project aims to design protein therapeutics that harness the natural degradation machinery in cells to target disease-implicated proteins for destruction. She has been actively involved in Africans in STEM since its early days, and she also serves as a co-president of the African Society of Cambridge University and is a member of the Equality and Diversity team in her department. When Cynthia is not in the lab, she can be found daydreaming about traveling, watching K-drama, reading, or learning Zumba and other African dance moves.
Thanks, Anne, for having us in your podcast. My name is Kagiso Loeto. I'm from Botswana. I'm a second-year PhD student in the Department of Material Science in the University of Cambridge. And my research focuses on 3-5 semiconductor-based devices, mainly LEDs, light-emitting diodes, and transistor-type devices. So we're mainly concerned in sort of trying to resolve the structure and optical properties of these materials to make them better, essentially, in a nutshell.
Fantastic. So basically, in short, we've got Nigeria and Botswana in the house, based in Cambridge. And it's really, really great to have you both. But we are here to talk. I'd really love to get into your sciences, but hopefully that's for another episode individually. We're here to talk about the amazing work that you guys are doing as a collective. So Cynthia, the obvious question, what is African in STEM? Why did the organization start, and how did you become part of it?
Yes, so Africans in STEM is an organization that aims to highlight the contributions of Africans in STEM. And also Black individuals in STEM. And we also provide a space for people to network and connect and possibly collaborate. So we began in 2019 with our first symposium in June 2019. There were 4 of us at Cambridge. So to mention people by name, there was Sandile Ntetwa, who's currently a PhD student in chemistry, Sebastian Eugene, who has just completed his PhD in pathology, and Dr. Prince Bauer, who is a postdoctoral fellow in chemical engineering and biotechnology. And so the 4 of us got together, and we just felt that we needed to create this space where we have Africans engaging in science, because, just for different reasons. So for one, for instance, we were all in different departments. And the thing is that you would usually be 1 or maybe 2 people in your department who are African or who are Black. And so it felt sometimes quite isolating. And so that was one thing we wanted to overcome with that, was to just have that space where you didn't have that feeling of isolation or maybe imposter syndrome. You just came and, people who look like you, and you're all just talking about, wonderful science. So we wanted to have that space. And then also we wanted this to also be beyond Cambridge. And so that was what led us to start with a symposium in 2019, which we had hoped would be an annual tradition. We thought about this in March, and by June we had our first symposium. So yeah, that was great. And that's how we started.
Fantastic. I love that you said that. I think postgrad studies can be so isolating, and worse when you are in a whole different country. So it's really good that you guys were able to come together and connect, and like you said, that there's that imposter syndrome that kind of happens when you think that you're the only one in a particular space, and it's always good to feel like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one here. So you mentioned that one of the ways that one of the ways that you've done this is to have the symposium, the first one that you had, very quickly as well, in 2019. So was this mission, the mission that you explained in the beginning, was it achieved when you guys had the first one?
Yes, I would say so, yes, because we wanted to highlight contributions by Africans in STEM, and that was exactly what we achieved with the symposium. So, for the symposium, which is the way we had it in 2019, which is still the way we're having it this year, is we have a few invited speakers. So these are usually people who are high level in the field. So we're talking about lecturer level or professor. And then we have abstract speakers, which are, mostly people who are graduate students, so MPhils, PhDs. We even have undergrads this year. And so for the abstract speakers, anyone, so literally anyone who wants to speak can submit an abstract, and you can get a place to speak at the symposium. And so we just loved, that avenue where it was really just open to anyone. And so that's because of that format. I think, we're definitely able to highlight, the contemporary Africans in the space of STEM. And I think that, the first one went great. It was definitely small, was the first one. But even at that, I think, it was still very good. We still had engagement from even beyond Cambridge. We had people coming in from other institutions in the UK to join us. And even as at last year, which was just, a year later, we had people even coming in now from outside the UK. We had someone who was planning to come in from Tanzania, actually, to join us and present her work. So, it was just great to see the growth, and it was also great to see that this was the platform that people felt like, they valued and they wanted to have. So yeah, it was really great to see all of that. And we've also ventured beyond the symposium. I'm sure we'll talk about this later. And we've also been able to see, lots of impact through those efforts. So yeah, we're very, very happy with, how things have gone and how things are going. And we're looking forward to continuing on this work.
It sounds so exciting. Like you said, that bringing in all of these, I love how you got a broad spectrum. It's not only the established researchers, but you're bringing in young researchers and even the undergrad students. I think it's really good to bring everyone in and also kind of train them, train the younger researchers from a young age about speaking at conferences or symposium, which is pretty exciting. This year, you guys are moving into a virtual space, right? So what sort of opportunities does that bring for the symposium? And if any, what challenges are you guys expecting to face? And how do you plan to overcome that?
Okay, cool. The sort of physical symposium had a lot of, I guess, maybe logistical problems with regards to finding a suitable physical space to have the symposium. And I think that was something that was troubling all four organizers during that year. Yeah, then you have other problems like catering as well. And then other issues that are related with, having a physical sort of space that you need to give a symposium. But however, moving into the sort of virtual space offers opportunity in terms of now you're not necessarily limited by where you are in terms of, can you attend the symposium or not? And I think now, hopefully, we're expecting a lot more people to attend as compared to the first one in 2019. I'm not sure, we haven't necessarily started sort of accepting invites from other people because we're still dealing with sort of the abstracts and who will be the speakers and everything. But I guess in terms of attendance, it will be a lot more, I guess we're in a better position compared to 2019. But however, moving now to a virtual platform means now that you have to deal with virtual things. Is the internet going to be fine? Are there going to be, internet problems or stuff like that? But what we're doing now is trying to come up with a sort of these virtual conference platforms. We're trying to figure out which one is best to give these sorts of presentations, because like Cynthia said, we have keynote speakers, we have guest speakers, then we have abstract speakers, which will be giving sort of these 10-minute long form talks, and then you have sort of 3-minute quicker talks, and then you have poster presentations. So we need to find a platform that can accommodate all of this, and also other opportunities with networking and other things. So yeah, it does come with its good bits, but there's some bad bits as well that we need to contend with.
No, I can understand, especially the whole aspect of a conference, especially a live one, not a live one, in-person one. I think that's the word, where you get to connect. And I think as organizers, it's a lot of pressure to find a platform that can feel as organic as possible, and dealing with all of the networks and whatnot. But I wish you all of the best, and I'm sure that you'll find something that's going to be effective, and it's going to give the reach that you want to do. Okay, so now you mentioned, Kagiso, that obviously with this new virtual space, it allows for other people to come in. So why should Africans in STEM reach out and actually be a part of this symposium? Like, why? Why should they do it?
So the symposium itself is supposed to provide a platform for people like us, for Africans in science and in other fields that are nearby, right? To provide a space where you sort of feel comfortable to discuss your ideas, to hopefully present and hopefully discuss them with other people as well. So that is probably the main thing. Then the second thing is you'll be meeting like-minded individuals. So it provides a networking opportunity to meet people like Cynthia, people like people like Sandile, and all the other people that will be presented. So it's an opportunity to learn directly by listening to the speakers, the poster presenters, and also to learn, from other people, hopefully. But I mean, it is again a virtual conference, so we'll need to sort out the networking part of it. But hopefully, by the time it comes, all of this will be in a better state.
No, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. So we're speaking a lot about the symposium, right? And I think other people, in terms of other events that I've been part of, for example, people are like, okay, this conference was great. We got to connect, but we want more. So as African in STEM, now this is the organization, Cynthia, are there other activities that you guys host throughout the year that people can be a part of if they want to continue this networking or just engagement sessions? And if so, what are they?
That's a good question. In terms of providing more opportunities for networking, I won't say that we have another space beyond the symposium yet. It's something that's definitely on our mind, and that I think we would want to also have. Again, we're fairly new, so we're still sort of working all those things out. But yeah, I mean, we're thinking, of doing something like that, this year, having that platform beyond the symposium where people can engage even more, so we don't have to just see each other just once a year kind of thing. But beyond the symposium, some of the other things that we have been doing is we ventured into the sort of diversity and inclusion space, and for us it felt like it was something that we just really needed to, given everything that had happened last year. So last year with the Black Lives Matter globally, and for us Africans in STEM in the diaspora, it was just something that we just could not ignore. It was something that we also felt the impact of very, very heavily. And so we felt like there was a lot to do there. And then, there was now a lot of talk about equality, diversity, and inclusion that was happening within departments, within the university. And it just felt like an opportunity that we had to take. And so we ventured into that space. And what we did was we actually recently had an implicit racial bias workshop. So this was a workshop that was facilitated by an expert for supervisors, so lecturers, professors, or anybody who supervises students. And it was just a way to enable them understand, certain concepts like white privilege, racism, anti-racism, and then also get them to actually talk about it, talk about racism, discuss racism, how, using some case studies of science students who were sort of experiencing incidences of implicit bias. Can you identify, for instance, what forms of racism are happening here? And can you also suggest possible solutions or things that could be done at the institutional level to avoid things like this? And so that was a very, I think it was a very engaging seminar and workshop, and we got a lot of positive feedback. I think for many people, actually, it was the first time they had ever been in an unconscious bias workshop like that, where they got to actually, speak about these things, because it's really such an uncomfortable topic here in the UK for many people who are not Black. It's not something that they really get to talk about. So we were glad to be able to, have that platform and have that avenue for impact. And then also before that, we also did like a Black History Month exhibition where we, highlighted past and present, Black individuals in science and their work. And we also had like a spotlight webinar where we had some Black women scientists also share about their work. So yeah, I mean, those are the other kinds of things that we have done. And then moving forward, we would like to continue doing that kind of work just because we've seen the impact, and, the impact definitely has value. But then also, following what you have said, we would also want to have more space for networking as well. So yeah, these are all things that we're just sort of building on as we're going along the journey.
I love that you keep in touch with sort of the current conversations that are going on in the current climate. Like, these are the things that are topical and that need to be discussed. And I think sometimes we kind of sweep them under the rug. And I think especially for people who are in the diaspora, these are the things that you face, but it's something that you don't really get to speak about. So that's really, really fantastic that you are doing all of these things. So I'm sure people then are like, okay, are you guys sponsored by the universities, or do you have sponsors, or are you guys doing it by yourself? Sure, Cynthia, could you just please tell us more?
Yes, definitely. We've needed a lot of support, and we've been very fortunate to be able to access a lot of help. So I mean, I can start back to when we first started in 2019. I mean, like Kagiso mentioned, the challenges of having a physical conference, like having a space, and all of the things that come with that. So then we were very lucky, actually. So one of our co-founders, Dr. Prince Bauer, he had talked to his department, and his department very kindly allowed us use their space for free. So that was great help for us. And that way we were able to keep, the tickets, very, very affordable for people. So yeah, definitely. So that was the Department of Chemical Engineering and Biotechnology, and they've been very supportive ever since then. We also got sponsorship from Cambridge Africa, which is sort of an organization in Cambridge that does work on Africa, mostly in the health space, and they just try to link researchers in Cambridge and in Africa. And so, I mean, like, we felt that they had sort of similar values and similar goals as us, and so it was an avenue to also reach out to for partnership. And yeah, they were very valuable as well. Not only financial sponsorship, but also in terms of outreach, helping us to find speakers and helping us reach, certain audiences. And then, we also had great potential sponsors for last year, but last year's was cancelled. And then following off of that, this year, we've had amazing support from the Royal Society of Chemistry. They've really sponsored, I think, most of all the events that we have done this year, and now including the upcoming symposium. Again, we have support from Cambridge Africa, also as an outreach partner. And then even our departments, so my department is the Department of Pharmacology, and then Sandile, the other co-founder, her department is the Department of Chemistry. So both of our departments have also been very supportive. I mean, there were times when we approached our departments. So this was for the Black History Month exhibition. We approached our departments for funding for printing posters, and also to just have the exhibition space. And yeah, we got, very positive feedback from them. So I think, on the whole, we've gotten, very good support from people, and we are very, very thankful for all of it. And definitely, this work needs a lot of sort of support and sponsorship. And yeah, we're thankful that we're able to access that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one can't do it alone, and it's really, really great that you guys have that support from your institution or these other sponsors. So, is it too soon to ask then when the proposed date for the symposium is? Do we have, like, if not a date, do we have a month in terms of when people can look forward to it?
Yeah, it's actually not too soon to ask, because we've decided on dates. I'm not sure if this was mentioned, but the symposium itself will occur in two days, and these 2 days are the 23rd and the 24th of April. So it will be about 4-hour long sections for each.
Okay, great. Okay, so now how do people get hold of you in terms of social medias? How can they apply? Is that still open? Talk us through quickly that procedure.
Okay, yeah. So with regards to social media, how to contact us, we do have social media pages. I'm not sure if you're able to link them in the description of the podcast. Okay, yeah, but they should be Africans in STEM on Facebook, Africans in STEM on Twitter. But again, we can link them down in the description. So in terms of getting involved in the symposium, we held a first abstract call around sort of the beginning of the year, and that was closed. Now, I'm not necessarily sure. I think we're going to have sort of a second call if need be. But right now, the main things that we're working on are to sort of sort things out with the keynote speakers and the guest speakers as well, and some of the panelists as well. And then right after that, we'll be sort of sorting things out with the actual attendees themselves. So setting out links onto how actually to get involved with the symposium.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So, like we said, that we're going to put the links and the website, etc., in the description box, and we just look forward to getting more information about attending, and pretty keen on hearing sort of the guest speakers and the keynotes in when this symposium starts. And it was really a pleasure to have you both on to talk about this amazing work that you're doing. And I really wish you all of the best in planning that everything just runs as smoothly as possible. But I'm sure you guys have got this, and it'll be a fantastic event.
Yes, thank you so much, Anne, for featuring us on your podcast. I mean, it's a delight to be here, to be able to speak about our work. And thank you also for the amazing work that you're doing, also highlighting Africans in STEM. So, yeah, I mean, it's great. Thank you for the well wishes. I think, yes, we're very much looking forward to April, looking forward to the symposium and all of the amazing talks that we're going to have.
Hey, thanks again for having us. Hopefully we've been an interesting bunch. But again, don't hesitate to contact us again. We can be of any sort of help with your podcast. Yeah.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. And to everybody else who's listening, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Root of the Suns podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. Until next time, goodbye.